So before I reload this and start it again, let's find the code that changes the speed. Ah, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I misled you. Originally, I was going to increase the speed every time you passed a trigger. Then I thought, some people are click happy. So I thought, we're going to penalize people to make this harder. Every time you click to change your direction, I'm going to speed the player up. So if you're clicking too much, you're going to speed up. Now, the reason I did that was because in the back of my mind, I thought one way to make this even more interesting is to start putting pickups along the hallway, like extra bonus point pickups, or maybe a pickup that will slow the character down. And so you've got to maneuver to hit that thing while you're trying not to hit the wall, and you're trying to go around the corners, and it becomes a little more interesting. So as you're trying to maneuver to pick up more points, you're making your player faster. So if you recall, player has a on-touch listener. When I click the screen, an event is thrown. The player is listening for this event, and the event is called on one touch. At the very end of on one touch, I said post on speed, and then I set a parameter in this table called speed and passed in speed 2, which I'll explain. If you go all the way to the top, originally we had a parameter called speed where you could set the speed of the player, which is fine, but now what we want is we want to have a variable that keeps track of our current speed while we retain the original one, because what's going to happen is you'll play the game, you'll hit a wall, you might have been going 200, and then you want to reset the game and reset the speed to the original speed, so we need to be able to retain that value somewhere. So speed retains our original value. Speed 2 is the value that we're using as the player's speed, which when I initialize it, I simply set it to the same value here as speed. And then everywhere where I had speed before, well, in init, I reset it to the initial value. And then everywhere where I set the velocity, now I use speed 2. Speed 2, speed 2. And then here, in the one touch, I say speed 2 is equal to speed 2 plus some value, which I'll show you in a minute. And I post the event on speed with a table where I say speed, and I could have called this speed if I wanted to. Doesn't matter. I pass in the value. And then our code over here in the label will extract that parameter. And so as I said, if I wanted to make this one speed, then I would call this speed, and it would still work. I'll save that change to prove it. It takes the value, appends it to speed, updates this text, and back in player, every time that we now update our velocity, our speed increments by that amount instead of the previous amount. So what's the speed increment? I played around with a lot of different values. Initially I made this 1, and that just wasn't doing it. What I found was a nice value to increment was by 10. So every time you click, it gets 10 faster, 10 relative velocity faster for the world. So we start off at 150, then it's 160, 170, etc., etc. So with all this code saved, if I reload, boom, oh, I'm sorry. There's one more bit. Remember how I said when the player starts, it's going to do a post to on speed? So let's find that. In the start, it's going to post on speed, and I changed the spelling, so I need to change it here too. And it's going to say, whatever is in speed 2, update the counter. Because what I wanted was to be realistic. When the player starts, you're not moving, so your speed is 0. But as soon as the player starts to move, I wanted it to express your actual velocity. Boom. So it starts, it throws the event, it updated this text value, and we are ready to go. So let's go ahead and restart it one more time and play it. So the score is going up, the speed is going up, and I'm about to die. So my high score is 21 with a speed of 360, and the restart code started right away. So at this point, we have a completed game mechanic. Not a game so much, but the entire game is now playable. We have the basic obstacles in, we have the sensors in, we have the counters in, we have the score in, and we've even modified the game a little bit to give us an extra challenge. So we started to make the game our own.